Time of the Reformation and the Counter-Reformation, there is a new emphasis on the Mass. As the Reformers sought to do away with sacramental language and refer to communion as the Lord's Supper, the Church stresses the emphasis of the Mass as a sacrifice. The Mass is a sacrifice inasmuch as it makes present in a sacramental and unbloody manner the sacrifice of Jesus Christ at the cross. This is a mystery of faith that reveals to us the generosity of Christ in making available through the Holy Eucharist his ultimate saving act at Calvary in each Mass. Hence, the graces of the cross become available to the faithful at every Eucharist. Through the ministry of the ordained priest, Christ makes it possible for the members of the Christian assembly to offer to the Father a perfect sacrifice that is Christ himself, pleasing in every way and able to bring forth countless blessings. Pope Pius V was responsible for a reformation of the liturgy and the creation of the Roman Missal. The Mass of Pius V is also known as the Tridentine Mass, a sturdy worship event that endured virtually unchanged for 4 centuries, until the Second Vatican Council. Millions of Catholics around the world found that this Mass provided a source of global identity and a sense of belonging to the universal Church. Developments in architecture led to the creation of Baroque churches and a shift in emphasis at Mass. In this new type of church, the choir stalls were removed, and the screens and walls that hid the choir are done away with. The sanctuary is visible once again, and it is shortened so that it is easily seen by the congregation. An imposing tabernacle rests on the altar. Midway up the wall is a spacious niche designed for exposition of the Blessed Sacrament. A soaring pulpit was situated in the middle of the church, indicating that preaching was once again a major feature of the liturgy, although the substance of the sermon was seldom the readings of the Mass. There are developments in Eucharistic spirituality. It is worth noting that schools of spirituality were not just used by priests and religious, but by the laity in large numbers. Thousands of lay people found a meditative repose in adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. The increased practice of 40 hours devotion and benediction of the Blessed Sacrament strengthened this link between contemplation and being present before the sacrament. Associate liturgical renewal with the Second Vatican Council. The roots go back at least 100 years before that. The liturgical movement received a boost from the interest of St. Pius X, who wrote about the need to revitalize church music, especially Gregorian chant, as well as to lower the age for reception of First Communion to 7. In encouraging frequent communion and the singing of chant, the Pope fed into the growing pressures to involve congregations in the Mass. Powerful support for the liturgical movement came from the encyclical Mediator Dei by Pope Pius XII. His statement that the primary source of the Christian life comes from active participation in the liturgy of the Church became a watchword for all people seeking the renewal of the liturgy. Following Vatican II, a number of changes were introduced. The priest now faced the people, illustrating the dialogical aspect of the Mass. The use of vernacular instead of Latin was introduced. People now shook hands at the gesture of peace. The congregation was asked to participate actively in the Mass, to sing and pray at various times. It is this concept of activated participation that is also behind the new translation of the Roman Missal, that we might be able to follow the principles of lex credendi, lex orandi. The law of belief is the law of prayer. We articulate our belief in our words to shape our prayer. And also our prayer shapes our belief. So in the Mass we have the collective memory of the Church, experiencing its tradition faithfully handed on as we enter into the presence of the Holy. Each Mass is heaven on earth, and we are invited to participate with the angels and saints around the altar of God at the wedding feast of the Lamb.